Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Man, about 17,000 people tuned in over the last 6 days to my last video about if you can be profitable raising 100 layers. And from the comments I got, which were great, I think I probably learned more than I did making the video. Today, I'm going to talk about 3 of the most common comments that I got because they taught me a lot, but they also, I think, reveal some of the misconceptions about farming profitability. And then when we get to the last comment, it kind of blew my mind and made me really think about the whole profitability scenario in general. Let's get into it. Real quick, we have a newsletter, The Sunday Solopreneur. This comes out every Sunday about 10 a.m. I talk about how to market your products on your farm, how to use social media and websites to grow your farm. I also talk about farming, raising cattle, chickens, pigs. We go through it all, and it's about building your farm business. Sign up now, and you also get a free PDF on how to use ChatGPT to write your social media, to write your newsletters, and to help write product descriptions for your products. This is free download for signing up for the newsletter. One newsletter every 1 to 2 weeks, no spam, I promise. Check it out. I think you'll get a lot of value in learning to grow your farm or homestead, and it's free. All right, back to the video. All right, you can see behind me, we just got done doing turkey chores. Still got to head up and do chickens, cattle over here behind me, but they're pretty self-sufficient. So today we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to talk about the first comment, and I got a few comments on this, and that was about whether to factor labor in as a cost. Is it an expense, or do you just take what's left after your expenses, not including labor, and divide that by your hours worked, and that equals your profit? And here I'm going to explain, while that sounds logical, I think it's backwards thinking. So there's a problem with what I call the employee mindset. And that's where you think of what you're getting paid just in terms of dollars per hour. This works if you're creating a job for yourself, but it's not really how business profitability works when you're creating a business for yourself. And there's a key distinction between these two, and that's that employees get paid for their time worked, where business owners get paid for results and risk. I'm just going to use some basic numbers here, but let's just say I invested $1,000 into my chicken operation and I ended up making a profit of $300. Therefore, invested $1,000, I ended up getting back $1,300. I've got $300 profit. And we're not including labor here. We're just talking about expenses: feed, egg cartons, labels, day-to-day cost. Now, let's just say for simplicity, it took me 30 hours to do that work. Well, if I take that $300 profit and divide that by 30 hours, I'm essentially making $10 an hour. And that might sound good and fine, but okay, now let's look at it. That's from an hourly standpoint. Let's look at it from a business point of view. Let's say that, same numbers, invested $1,000, I made $1,300, so a $300 profit, but let's include labor. And let's say for that 30 hours of labor, I had to pay someone to do it as a business owner. Then I paid them $10 an hour. Well, $300 that I brought in, that's $300 I just paid in labor. Therefore, my profit is gone. Essentially, I made zero money. Now let's take that same scenario. What if I just took that $1,000 and put it in the stock market? Historical returns of about 7%. That would be $70 on my $1,000, and I did no work. There was no labor, there was no hours, nothing. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this, in that when you look at your business like a business rather than how much am I making an hour as an employee, the numbers change. And the important thing with this is opportunity cost. What I mean by opportunity cost is just like the example with the stock market. The money that you're putting into your chicken operation, is it actually profitable? And if not, or even if it is, could I put that money into another operation, a separate operation, one that I have going, and get a better return? And that's the importance of looking at this from a business standpoint, and not just what's left over divided by my labor is my hourly pay. Because as a farmer, it is a business, and I think we need to, whether you're going to treat it like such or not, you need to know those numbers, because again, those numbers are going to really tell you, not so much even if you're making money or not, but maybe what you could do with that money to make more money. All right, the second comment I got was about startup costs and including some things. I got the whole orchestra going. Turkeys, cows, startup cost. Why didn't I include that in my numbers and in the video? Well, the main reason is that I look at startup cost as an asset and not as a daily expense. I was really trying to flesh out the numbers for what your daily expenses are going to be and the cost of running an operation. And a lot of times startup costs just don't factor into that because they're assets. They're actually worth money, meaning if you quit doing the daily operations, you can actually sell those assets for money back into the business. Not only that, you can write them off for taxes, which then saves you a little bit of money as well. The main thing I'm really trying to look at is cash flow in and cash flow out. And that typically doesn't include structures and startup cost. There may be a repair or maintenance component to it, but the actual structures and such themselves, again, are assets. What I want to see is, can you cover the cost of feeding chickens every day, buying bedding, buying cartons and labels, with the profit or the income or cash flow that you are making from the sale of the eggs? Now, there is one instance where startup costs really do matter, and that's if you borrowed money to pay for those startup costs, because then you're paying interest on the money that you borrowed. And that's an ongoing expense that you do have to factor in. And I didn't include it in the video, probably should. That is one scenario where startup costs are important. Again, really just looking at your operation and whether it's sustainable or not. And that's why, with startup costs technically being assets, I didn't factor that into that. The turkeys agree. All right, and now we're going to get into the third comment, which I thought was one of the best comments I had had. And there were a couple to this effect. And that was essentially that not everyone's trying to make money. Sometimes it's just about producing healthy food and trying to cover your cost of doing so. It's about the lifestyle. It's about providing food for your neighbors. And this one stopped me in my tracks. It was pretty profound after, you're looking at profit and building a business, but then sometimes you lose sight of why you started this in the first place. And it's one of those things with just a really honest take, and it kind of can change things from a perspective standpoint. Take for example the video we were doing. You're raising 100 hens, you're getting about 80 eggs per day. You're selling those for say $4 or $5. That's about 6.5 dozen a day, or about $29 a day you'd be making doing that. Production cost of that's about $20 a day. So in essence, you're getting about $29 worth of premium eggs per day at $20 the cost. That's not only $9 that you have extra that you're technically saving from buying food, but you've already got the food as well. And you can use that $9 to go buy something that you can't produce on the farm. If you take $9 per day times a year, that's a little bit over $3,000 that you're saving that you can spend on other food products or whatever you want to spend it on for your family. And you have the premium food that you would have normally had to buy. Then there's also a lot of other benefits when you treat this more as a homesteading model or a lifestyle business model than treating it like your traditional business. And that's kids, they learn responsibility. 2, if you already have the land anyway, maybe you weren't going to start this and you just already got the room to do it. That's not costing you any extra. There's the physical activity of it, trying to stay in shape. I've got some work to do, but I'm not in there sitting on a couch or just driving to the grocery store. I'm out here getting eggs, I'm hauling bags, I'm moving things. It contributes to an active lifestyle. And then there's just a therapeutic benefit to just taking care of the animals, seeing them eating in a good environment. They're not in cages. It's just something nice about knowing that I can do this right in my backyard. And while we're not solving the world's problems, we are making ourselves just a tiny piece of the solution. And then there's other factors like you just enjoy doing the work. Food security matters to you. You have kids that are in 4-H or FFA, and just knowing the value of exactly how your food was raised. So in short, it's just different goals from when we're talking about a business and being profitable versus your lifestyle goals. I think where a lot of the problems can arise is when we confuse the two in that, now we're running a business, but we're really maybe doing lifestyle, and vice versa, because then we're not looking at the numbers and we're not looking at actually what we're doing accurately. So anyways, I got a few of those comments and they were awesome. All right, guys. So those were the 3 main comments that I saw. There were a lot of other ones about feed efficiency, doing things with growing things, some really great. I'd encourage you to, if you watch the video, but go read some of the comments. There were really some good suggestions in there. And I think a lot of times the comment section can be a curse in that you get trolls, you get stuff, but it can also be a gold mine of information and people sharing their experiences. Some key takeaways from this video is 1, just know why you're doing it. A hobby, a lifestyle, a business, they all have different metrics and different things you need to evaluate to make sure that they're doing what you want them to do for you. 2, be honest about your cost, and not just your actual cost, but your opportunity cost. Could this time and money be better spent somewhere else? 3, there's nothing at all wrong with a lifestyle approach. I encourage it, but just don't use that for planning and banking on that from, say, quitting your other job or depending on it for income, because if you're not looking at the numbers accurately, that could get you in trouble. And really 4, your comments prove there's a ton of reason to raise chickens. So here's my question to you. What's your real reason for raising chickens? Business profit? Lifestyle business? Something totally different? Let me know in the comments and break it down. I want to hear what you think. That said, I told you last video that this video would be a horseboarding video, but I'm still working out some of the numbers and stuff on that, and I want to be able to give you an accurate picture. So we're probably still a week or two away from doing that. That is coming down the pipeline, but our goal was to put out a video every week. So that's something I haven't been very good at just because of life, other things. And it usually takes me about 10 hours to do one of these videos with editing, shooting, coming up with what I'm going to talk about. So just stay tuned. We got more videos. I'll likely have a video next week. Week after that, horseboarding will be in there. But we've got a lot of other really good topics coming. So leave your comments below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the comments, and we'll catch you in the next one.